Alright, let's talk today about vectors. And what a vector is any quantity that has size and direction. So when we think of vectors is we have to have a magnitude. And we have to have a direction. So to think of this in a coordinate plane, we have a line, it has a direction, and then we have a distance, which is the magnitude. That's how far that line goes. So if we're thinking of this being a compass, we'd have north, south, east, and west. So my direction would be either northeast or east-north, depending on how you do your vector and calculate your magnitude. So let's go ahead and work some of these problems. Alright, so I have a vector here. I know the angle there it makes is 30 degrees, and I know my vector's magnitude is 50. So we can picture a right triangle here, and we need to find what our x value is and what our y value is. So if you're thinking x, we would do the cosine of 30 equals our adjacent, which is x, over 50. So to solve that, we do 50 cosine of 30 equals x. So type that in the calculator, and we would get about 43 3/10. And then to find our y, we're going to use the sine function. So the sine of 30 equals opposite, which is y, over our hypotenuse, which is 50. So here we would have 50 sine of 30 equals our y. So type that in the calculator, 50 sine of 30, and we'd get 25. So if we wrote this as an ordered pair, our ordered pair would be 43 3/10, 25. Alright, so let's find a vector. So let's say we had a car, it starts at the origin there, and our car is down here, and this is where it ends up. There's my car. And I know if I traveled along the x, it went 8 miles, and if I travel along my y, it went 5 miles. So first let's find the length of that vector just by using the Pythagorean theorem. So we're going to do c equals the square root of 8 squared plus 5 squared. So c equals the square root of 64 plus 25. So c equals the square root of 89. So that would put c about 9 4/10 miles. So we know how far the car went. Now we need to know what direction it went. So in order to find that, we need to use our trig function. Since I got so we're finding this value right here. We'll call it x. So I have the opposite and I have the adjacent. So that means I'm going to use tangent. So the tangent of x equals opposite, which is 5, over our adjacent, which is 8. So to find the tangent of x, I need to do the inverse tangent. So x equals the inverse tangent of 5 over 8. So use your calculator there. So tangent, inverse tangent, so shift or second of the tangent key, and then 5 over 8. And you're going to get about 32 degrees. So to write this out, the car traveled 9 4/10 miles at 32 degrees east or southeast. So we found the magnitude of 9 4/10, and we found the direction of 32 degrees southeast. So that's how you find a vector. Alright, let's do one more. So let's say we have a boat. It starts at the origin, and it goes in a straight line, and it ends up 20 miles to the west, and it ends up 50 miles to the north. And we need to find what that vector is. So first, let's find the magnitude of the vector. So we're going to do the square root of 20 squared plus 50 squared. So if you're savvy on the calculator, you just type that in as all one thing. So square root of 20 squared plus 50 squared. And you're going to get about 54 miles. Next, we need to find the directions it's going. So we don't know what the x is there. We'll call it. And so let's find that. And we're going to need to use tangent for that. So the tangent of x equals 50 over 20. So we're going to do the inverse tangent. So x equals the inverse tangent of 50 over 20. Type that in the calculator. Inverse tangent of 50 over 20. And you're going to get about 68 degrees. So now when we write this out, we have a magnitude of 54 miles. And our direction is 68 degrees. And the way we did that was we went west by north. If you wanted to do north of west, which is how we normally do it, we would have had it gone this way. And we'll call this B. And we would have had to find B. So we would have had done 50 here and 20 there. So you'll see that this works out just slightly different. So let's change our colors, my color here. So we're going to get the same number for our magnitude. But the way we solve for the degree is a little bit different. So here I'm going to have the tangent of B equals opposite, which is 20, over our adjacent, which is 50. So we do the inverse tangent. So B equals the inverse tangent of 20 over 50. So that would be about 22 degrees. And that would be north of west. Or northwest. So depending on how you solve it, you could get a slightly different answer, but your direction is what makes it right or not right, because it's the directions you're going.